Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Ash coming at you with another great video. So today I'm going to talk about how to scale your business to that next level. But before I get into that, let me tell you why you're here possibly. And it could be you have a business that you have been doing it for many years and you're kind of maybe plateaued and maybe it's not growing as fast enough as it should be. Or maybe you just started a business and you want to know how to scale it up to the next level, or maybe you're growing and it's going very well. However, you're not as profitable as you should be, or you don't have enough quality time for yourself. So all of those things I'm going to cover with you in this next video. So let's get started. All right. So number one thing I want you to think about is that you're kind of at a crossroads in your life for pretend. Okay. Let's say you're right now thinking about going to that next level. If you're ready for a change, if you're ready to make some moves in your business, going to that next level, I'm going to go over with you three specific strategies on how to get there. Okay. Number one, pretend you are right now at a crossroads. You're right now thinking about, hey, if I keep doing what I've been doing over the last 5 years, 10 years, even the last month, where am I going to be? Okay, so let's say the activity that you have done in the past, where you're at right now, what has it got you? Okay, and look at the mindset first of all. So let's just say you are right here. This is you, your current path. So if you're, let's say, making 20,000 a year, or 200,000 a year, or $2 million a year, okay, where are you going to be if you don't change anything? You keep doing what you're doing now. If you're 100% satisfied with everything, which I don't think that's the case, that's why you're watching this video, then obviously this is going to be for you. All right. So you're obviously maybe dissatisfied with certain things in your life. All right. Number one, it could be that you have tried other methods of scaling your business or trying to grow to the next level. And you've been confronted, well, I tried these other marketing methods. I tried to get customers in the door, or they just are not showing up on my appointments on my calendar. And you're not able to, maintain that relationship, even though you may have lots of clients. And the biggest thing that I find is the reason why people are not able to get to the next level is they are thinking where their level they're in right now. They don't see themselves in that level. So if you kept it at this level where you're going to be keep doing, you're going to get what you got. The second thing is, let's move on to the right side of the equation here, which is on this side, your potential of what your future looks like. So I want you to think in your mind right now that imagine you were to double your sales, or even triple your sales in the next 6 to 12 months. Okay. So projection is very important. Okay. If you don't project where you're going to be and you just focus on the activity and not focus on the end result, it's going to be more frustrating, because what happens is your mind keeps thinking it's going in this direction when your conscious mind is trying to get to this direction. So how do we do that? Well, first of all, you got to have written specific goals. You probably heard this before, but the problem is people don't have it clearly defined. Clarity produces confidence. You want to write that down. Clarity produces confidence. So think about this for a second. If you were to, let's say, go into battle, all right, and all you had was a knife, and you were given maybe 2 hours of training in how to defeat the enemy, 2 hours only, how confident would you be defining the enemy who had all the resources, tanks, and all the training they would have? They have years of experience. You'd say, no way you got a chance. Even if you think positive, it's not going to work, right? So the way to get to that level of confidence is to first produce clarity. What exactly are you going to need to get to $2 million? I want you to imagine that your sales have just doubled right now. So if your sales have doubled, what would your numbers look like? And there's a thing called critical variables in business. I'm going to write this down, called critical variables, CR. What are your critical variables? And it's what I call keeping track. So if you're not able to keep track of your business where you are right now, what are your critical variables? Critical variables could be your revenue coming in per day, per week, per month. Break it down. What are your true operating costs in your business? Okay, so number one is sales coming in the door. Number two, operating costs, OC. What is your operating cost per day? And even I would break it down per hour. Because if you know your costs, break it down, you can actually manage it. There's an old saying that if you can track your business better, if you know where you are, you can actually manage it. And here's the key. What gets managed gets improved. But you got to be able to know how to manage. So what are the tools you're using, some of the software, to manage your cost? If somebody came up to you and asked you, What's your break even point? And if you don't know what your break even point by the month, by the day, by the product line, then you're shooting in the dark because your competitors, other people who know this kind of knowledge, they know how to do their pricing even effectively. Think about this. If you know your break even point, let's say in every month you break even on the 16th day of that month. That means after 16th day, any revenue you produce past the 16th day is virtually all profit. It's pretty much going to be 90, 80, 80% profit, depending on what your costs are, because everything else has been covered. Knowing your break-even point. And that's one of the things we do for our clients is showing them how to track their critical variables, break-even point. The second thing is very important to you is knowing your third thing, actually, your cash flow projections. Where's your cash flow right now? In other words, your cash conversion cycle. Cash conversion cycle. You want to write that down. Cash conversion cycle means the minute somebody gives you an order, okay, and the time that you collect the money, that's your cash conversion cycle. For example, if somebody gives you an order to build a house, okay, you put the bid out there, that's when you start it. By the time you finish the job, you get it done, it could take 30 days, it could take 30 or maybe 30 months, depending on how long your cash conversion cycle is. The goal is to squeeze that cash conversion cycle as quickly as possible. That's how you can increase your revenue and your profitability, knowing where your money stands. Number 4, another critical variable is what we call minimum mandatory profit. Minimum mandatory profit, MMP. Now, this goes back to a book that I read many, many years ago. It's called The Richest Man in Babylon. Okay. And what he talked about in that book is having yourself paid first is more important than anything, whether you have a job or business, doesn't matter. Okay. So when you pay yourself first, when you pay your company first, a minimum mandatory profit, what happens is that all your other expenses come behind it. What's most important for the company? That has to be profitable. Banks and lenders look at this before they lend you any money. They say, what is your net operating profit? NOP, right? Net operating profit. Your minimum mandatory profit should be, depending on the industry again, anywhere from 1% to 50%, sometimes 70%, depending on the industry, of course. So having that minimum mandatory profit set up front allows you to have a better cash flow. Here's an example. Let's say you have a customer paying you $10,000 for your services. Just an example, $10,000. You have a mandatory profit that you have to make. You allocate it because that's the money you want to make. Let's say 10%. 10% you have to make on that job. So what you do is you pretend in your mind that you only got paid $9,000 to run your business. That $9,000 should be enough to pay off all your expenses, your hard costs, your variable costs, your semi-fixed costs. That's enough. The first 10% of the minute the client pays you even $1 or $10,000, you take 10% off the top. And when you do that, what happens? You operate on 90% of the revenue coming in. That 10% is allocated to the business, to your corporation. You cannot touch that. Just like as if you have to pay a mortgage, you have to pay a rent, that has to be paid every month. What happens if you don't pay your mortgage or rent? Boom, you're in the street. Same thing in a business. You've got to think of your business as you have to have a minimum mandatory profit. And what that does, this is so powerful, is that the minute you have money that comes in, you allocate a 10% minimum mandatory profit, it makes your mindset, I mean, you're like through the roof. Your confidence goes up because you're now profitable on the first day. Most businesses say, business owners tell me that, hey, it's going to take me about, all my investment I put in, it's going to take me about 6 months to break even, or 6 years, or whatever the case may be. They're not putting in mandatory profit up front because they think that they have to pay their overhead, they have to pay their operating costs, they have to pay their employees, their variable costs, all the costs associated in running a business first. That's a different mindset. Therefore, whatever's left over, they call it bottom line. That's why it's called the bottom line. Look at your bottom line as your top line. Swing that around, put it at the top. And that's what produces. That's why I'm spending so much time in this, because you are in business. The minute you collect any funds, you are already profitable the first day. Think about this. When you show your balance sheet that your profitability on month one is already there, 10% has gone into your corporation, what that does is it increases the value of your company. One of the critical variables that determine the value of any business is how profitable you are, right? So if you're profitable day one, your value of your company goes up. Now we'll talk about how to become more valuable, how to have a company that has more value in it. And having profitability is one of the key things, the margins. Number two key area that produces high value is your cash conversion cycle. In other words, if you're able to collect money faster, the value of your company goes up. For example, if you're running $1 billion company, but you're getting paid every 6 months versus running a company that is maybe doing half that volume, but you're getting paid every month, your cash conversion cycle dictates how much money is in the bank. The more money you have in the bank, it doesn't mean it's all yours. Obviously, you have to pay operating costs, but the more money you have in the bank, you can use that to build your business, to buy more inventory, to hire more employees, and to actually expand to other locations. That's what will produce more value to your company. Another big one is this: management. How much time are you spending in your business managing your business? Now, we talk about this. Time management is all it is priority management. Write that down. Priority management. When you prioritize your activities to what's important, that produces the greatest result in the bottom line, that's how you manage your time. So the activity, like for example, I'm doing right now, this activity produces more revenue to my company. If I was to go over there on my computer and just do things where data entry, for example, where I can hire somebody for $10 an hour to do data entry, and my time is worth $150 an hour, let's say. Every time I do data entry, it's costing my company $140 per hour to do that type of work. Think about it. So if your time is, let's say, worth $200 an hour, $50, whatever the case may be, and you're doing activities that could be hired by somebody else, or get this, get it automated, systemized through a software, that eliminates your time working in that job that's producing $10 an hour that could be done by somebody else or could be automated. So time management becomes what I call priority management, right? And when you prioritize your time, for example, spending time an hour with your son after school, I call that as a priority management, because what that does, you build that relationship with your son, they have a better future, and guess what? You have a better quality of life. So as a business owner, if you're not focusing on those type of things, which is more important, some people say, hey, I'm going to start a business, I got to put 12 hours a day. No, because when you recharge your batteries and focus on the important things in life and allocate those time to the other people, or have somebody else do it, or actually have a system do it for you, you actually have a better quality when you come back to focusing on what you do best. And what is it you do best? You might be good at communicating with your customer. You might be good at administration or handling the operational side. The part that you're not good at, need to improve that skill or have somebody else do it. And that skill that you want somebody else to have, you may need to hire somebody to do that. Now, example could be you may not be good at marketing. You might be good in the technical side of your business. Now, most business owners, for example, a construction worker, they work for a construction company for 10 years. After 10 years, they the heck with this. The boss is making so much money off of my expertise. I'm going to start my own company. Well, guess what? 10 years of working for someone else, they have what we call technical expertise. They know how to do the ins and outs of building a house. But then what do they know about building a business? Okay, all these things I just mentioned here. Nothing. Very little, right? So when you're good at what you do, a barber knows how to cut hair, but does a barber know how to calculate a break-even point in his business? No. That's why you need an expert to do that part of your business. So you can focus on being with your family, traveling, helping others. And this is key, right? Do more than you're paid for right now for your own business. And one day you'll get paid more than what you actually are doing. Think about that. So focusing on these activities will produce what I call freedom in your life. And when you're free, when you feel relaxed, when you come to work and you enjoy it, guess what happens? you draw more attention, you get more revenue, you actually have more fun running your business where you're not working in it like an employee. There's nothing wrong working in it like an employee from short, but what's important is working it like a leader. And leaders have bigger mindsets than employees. So if you're not thinking big on where your business should be in the next 2 to 3 years from now, it should double or triple your marketplace, okay, and how to do that, you need to hire an expert that knows about growth. And think about this. Somebody who's been there, done that, has already reached the pinnacle of success, can teach you how to get there, right? So I hope you got a lot out of this. And on my next video, we're going to be teaching you exactly how to actually implement all this stuff. So until next time, make sure you book yourself on our calendar so we can talk to you about how to build your business. And this is just a tip of the iceberg because we are based on your results. The key things working with results-based consulting is that we only work with you if we know you and you're going to be successful. So we work as a partnership rather than just asking you for upfront cost and then leaving you alone with a bunch of videos or training material. So one of the things you're going to find different working with us is that nobody works like this. We work strictly on performance. Okay. So book a call. We'll give you all the details and see if you're a good fit for us. Until next time, make it a great day.